Can you imagine that? In order to control the population, you have to take a test, which if you fail you must die. Here you see it. The thinning. In the year 2039, the Earth has become so overpopulated that resources are very scarce and humanity is on the verge of extinction. The United Nations declared that annually countries must reduce their population by 5%. This is why the US has implemented a rule that students must attend a test every year. The point is that students who fail will be executed with an injection.
But it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
The film begins when Lina is giving private lessons to a high school boy named Simon, who spends all day on social networks, and you can imagine how he is with mathematics. He asks Lina for some glasses to solve these problems, and she gives them to him because he needs the money to help his mother who is ill. On the other hand, we are introduced to Blake, who is the son of the governor of Texas named Dean. He runs away from home at night and meets his girlfriend Ellie clandestinely. Blake starts talking about the test they will have the next day, making Ellie a little sad, so he tries to calm her down, talking about economics and finance.
I'm touching myself tonight.
And telling her that she will pass. Just then Blake's dad's guard finds them and takes Blake to his dad. Dean is disappointed that Blake is wasting his time just one night before the test and tells him that his girlfriend is a distraction. The next day many students line up outside the school to get through for an intense security check. Here Blake asks Lina for one of her study glasses, but she tells him she can't because she already sold the last one. Then she and her best friend Kellen line up to get in, while they get to talking about the crush she has on Blake. Later they catch a student who hid the answers all over his arm.
I can't believe you did this!
This one tries to escape in vain, since no one so far has been able to do it or cheat. Inside the school Blake meets Ellie and they hug before entering the exam room. Already when they start they tell them that they have 2 hours to complete the test, so they all proceed to read the questions they have on their tablets. Lina solves them without any problem and is the first to complete it a few minutes before the end of the test. These tests are so efficient that when they finish the exam they get the results instantly. The teacher names several names of the people who did not pass and who will be killed as a result. Everyone is anxiously waiting for this to be over, while the students they carry are crying, resisting or trying to escape. Fortunately Lina, Kellen and Blake pass, except for Ellie and the boy Lina was teaching math to. Blake calls his dad and asks him to help him, but he tells him he won't because the law has to be the same for everyone. Very angry he runs after her, attacks a few guards, and tells her to escape, but to his bad luck the other boys stand around closing the exit and won't let her pass. A year later the boys have 24 hours before starting a new test. It is the first time Corinne, Lina's little sister, will take the test. Lina's teacher named Mrs. Birch has been taking care of her and her brothers as if they were her own children. Since their mom passed away last year, she tries to calm Lina down for Corinne's first test and assures them that everything will be fine. Apart from that, when she goes back home, she sees a school teacher giving her and not advice to a girl who seems that she is not very smart. On the other hand, Blake recorded a video in her room saying that she is going to write all the wrong answers in the test to teach her dad a lesson. It's time for the test. Lina leaves Corinne in her classroom, where they are shown an informative animation. Here she teaches them the current state of the earth, whereby all countries must reduce their populations. Some implemented rules like allowing couples to have only one child, while in other countries they killed the previous generation. However, the government decided to keep only the smartest ones and execute the mere mortals. That's how, without any pressure of course, the test of the children begins at the same time as the test of the adults. In the time that passes, Blake's dad finds the recording he made and, very worried, calls the test director named Mason to approve his son regardless of the result. Already when they finish we learn that the Lina's sister passes her test and that the girl who was being advised by the teacher fails, as well as Lina herself.
What?
It turns out that Mason had no better idea than to choose her to change her score with Blake's score. The teacher stops the guard, claiming that Lina is his best student and that there must be something wrong with the system. However, he tells her that the results are final and that they cannot be changed. He gives Lina a card so she can open the doors and escape, while Blake notices that it is very suspicious that he has not been called. The students who pass have a party to celebrate the results. At the same time, Dean is giving a speech to announce his candidacy to be the president of the USA. He says that the crime rate is down 26% and that their education system is so good that they are number 1 out of 196 states. Blake hears the speech in the middle of the party and decides to escape. He sneaks down the hallway and hits one of the guards to get into the control room. Lina and the students who failed are taken to a room and put against a wall. They are forced to take off all their clothes to decontaminate them. Then Lina and the others are taken to a room where the guards are about to kill them with a lethal injection. At that moment, Blake cuts the electricity, making the whole school go dark. Taking advantage of the moment, the failed students break free and try to escape, but none of them succeeds. Except for option A, the boy next to Lina, who is not even in focus. Option B, the 2 girls who play extras. Or option C, Lina herself.
Oh, okay, number 3!
That's right, folks, Lina runs away and doesn't even try to help her classmates.
We don't have time for all this.
Mason arrives at the room and asks for a head count, in which they discover that Lina is no longer there. Blake just happens upon her and helps her fight one of the guards. As they leave, they realize they did something with the results and go inside to hide through the ventilation. They follow the network cables to go to the server room, where they can see the results on the computer. Meanwhile, they lock down the school so no one escapes, and the news reaches the outside, broadcasting all over the state. The parents outside start to worry, while Governor Dean calls Mason to ask him about the situation. The vents under Blake break, making him fall into a pool. Lina jumps on him and realizes he is not breathing, so she gives him an RPC with which she manages to save him.
That's good.
They both change clothes and wear some that they had conveniently left in the pool lockers.
How convenient is that? Wow.
And then continue through the vents and reach the server room. Here a guard stands in front of the door, and to top it off, Lina's access card falls through the grate in front of him.
Ooh, that's bad.
Thanks to the power of the script, he doesn't realize this.
That's good.
But now they have to think of some way to get it back. They make a plan, which is to go to the science lab and attach a rope with a magnet to fish for the key. So they get to the lab to gather everything they need, but they make a small noise, which causes one of the guards to approach. Lina manages to get back to the vents, unlike Blake, who gets trapped.
That's bad.
This one moves through the duct to grab the keys and manages to lift him halfway up, when out of nowhere one of the guards grabs him. Thank goodness. It turns out that Blake had defeated the other guard and had disguised himself as him. A little later, the guard that the two had attacked tells Mason about them, tells him that Lina had a card with her. They round up all the teachers, suspecting that one of them was the culprit. When Mrs. Birch is in the room with the other teachers, she starts flirting with him, who usually gives advice to his female students, and manages to take his card. Mason continues to check the teachers for their cards, and she saves herself by using the other teacher's card. Mason threatens the latter to tell them where Lina is, but the latter continues to insist that he knows nothing, even though Mason hits him. Lina finally gets to the server room, opens the computer using the access card, but runs into the obvious surprise that it has a password. She sends a message to Kellen, who, again thanks to the power of the script, is very good at hacking things,
Ooh, how convenient.
to give her access to the computer. After waiting a while, Kellen helps her get into Mason's computer, allowing Lina to look up her results. Here she discovers that she got 98% correct, but still failed, while Blake got 15% correct and passed.
Whoa.
She did some more research and discovers that Ellie also got 88% and failed, while others who got less points passed. Lina realizes that the grading system is rigged and that the governor has been lying to everyone, including Blake. She then sends a file with the rigged scores to Kellen, but just the power comes back on, and Mason sees that she is in the server room. Mason catches Lina, while Blake, still in disguise, he meets the students who failed. He orders a guard to take them to an arcade with the other students, but the guard realizes something is wrong, and they start fighting. As Kellen is friends with a news anchor, he emails him on his channel. The reports spread the news, showing the evidence of the altered results. After the photos are leaked, the governor is called by the head of his party, who threatens him to withdraw his candidacy. Not willing to allow this to happen, Dean throws all the accusations at Mason and pretends he is innocent, but to prove it for real and to earn the title of Father of the Year, he sends to execute all those who failed, including his own son.
I am disgusted.
Later, the guards take Lina to the execution room, where Blake was also. In that, Dean receives a call from Mason to confirm the execution of the students, but the latter tells him to stop. The latter tells him to execute the students so that they release those who actually did not fail, that is to say, that the guards release Lina and some students who had passed the test. Lina says goodbye with a kiss to Blake and then is taken out of there. Blake and the others are executed by a lethal injection. While Lina meets with her sister and Mrs. Birch, we see that the bodies of the students are taken underground by an elevator. To our surprise, the students begin to move, revealing that the liquid they were injected with was actually just for sleeping. They stop when they reach a place similar to a factory, which is full of products produced by a technology company called Asuru Global. That moment, Blake is surprised when he notices that one of the people working there was his girlfriend Ellie. Here we discover that the students who are supposed to be dead are actually taken to work as slaves for that multi-million-dollar company. This is how The Thinning ends. Thank you very much for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share it with all your friends. See you in the next movie.
It's over. Go home.